Well, hello everybody. Tim Time here. Well, actually Tim here. That's the Yanmar, and we got over 50 hours on it, and it's time for its 50-hour service. So I'll take it down around back and remove this front loader from it so it's out of my way, but probably don't even need to do that, but what the heck. Here is the service that we're going to do to it. Let's see, oil change, filter, water separator element, transmission filter, and chassis lube. And we'll look at the air cleaner and the axle fluid. Really not a lot, not a big service, but it's an expensive service. The transmission fluid, very expensive. And believe it or not, it was cheaper to buy the filters at the dealer than it was to get them through Amazon. So I have that stuff. I'll go down and take this off, and then we'll start. Now, had I been thinking, I would have taken the front end loader and everything off yesterday and came down and probably just opened up the drain pan or the drain plugs and let everything drain. But now, since I have to take that off, I'll let it get warmed up a little bit, make the oil come out a little faster. But it is about 50 degrees here, so it's not bad. So we'll give it the old start. Let's see how many miles are actually on it. All right, so now the front loader is disconnected and stored down below. I didn't make a video of it because I don't have very good lighting down there, and I don't have anyone to hold the camera, and it's too hard getting on and off and on and off. Plus, there's about 1,000 of them on YouTube that show you the correct way to take them on and off. So now I'm going to take a look. Maybe I'll remove the hood. Alrighty, looks like we're going to want to take the shock absorber off, or the lift assist absorber, piston, whatever you want to call it. And then, let me see back in here. I'm sure the instruction manual probably outlines it a little bit better. Just trying to see. All right, let me just see what happens. We'll take this off and see what happens. For some reason, I think it's a lot easier to take that off than I think it is. So when I take that absorber off, maybe it just tilts off. All right, after some reconsideration, if you take this off, make sure you're bracing the hood or have somebody bracing it for you, because if not, it'll fall on your head. But this comes off real easy. And then the hood will pull out of there. The only thing is the wiring for the headlights goes through there, and you'd have to disconnect and pop everything out. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I need to be up on top of the engine for anything. I may regret this, but we'll find out. So I'm going to leave it on as opposed to taking that harness off there. All right, so I'm sitting on the tractor. I'm under the left side. Probably doesn't matter which side you go to. Here's the engine oil pan right here. 17mm bolt. No. Oh gosh. Okay. Whoa, that's come on already. All right. Now it's only supposed to be about. Move my hand out of the way. It's only supposed to be less than 4 quarts, so a standard oil drain pan should be just fine. So I'm going to slide mine under here. It's just a regular car drain pan. I should probably get a rag before I start. All right, let's go. Lined up there pretty good. Diesel oil is usually very, very dirty, or at least very black looking. Try not to splash any on the camera. All right, and there it goes. Let me go uncap the oil drain or the oil fill screw, and that'll make that run faster. Right here, you see now, I pull this off in theory. There we go. yeah, we'll just build a vacuum up. So let that drain for a little bit, and I'll be back. All right, our first victim of the upside down. All right, our first victim of the day here. Move that out of our way. Is going to be the oil filter. 35170, 35170. Okay. And this actually sits sideways on the engine. So we'll prime it a little bit, but I'm not going to fill the heck out of it because it'll just run right back out. And make sure that the gasket, the old gasket, comes off with the other filter. When I put this on, make sure there's a nice little bit of grease or oil around that so it doesn't stick. All right, they bury the oil filter way down in there, I guess to save room. But what I'm going to do is take off this 14 millimeter bolt right here, and then that'll allow this to swing out of the way just a little bit. It's not a lot. And I'm actually going to use a pair of channel locks. That's a small filter. You could use either a belt, where'd I have it? I had a belt out here, or a small filter wrench. But I'm going to try it with channel locks. And that's usually, I don't put a lot of science into taking oil filters off, but let me see what happens. Oh, another thing I wanted to add too, life goes a lot easier if you take the dipstick out, because it goes right here, and of course it would be right in your way. So I don't know where this oil is going to drain. Started to fall out of the filter yet. Wow, that was crazy. You must have a little drain right, I don't know if you can see it. Let's catch it in this little channel here, and then lets it come down out of, there's a little weep hole. I don't know, let me see if I can light that up. If you can see it right below the filter there, it's like a little weep hole and the oil's running out from the filter. So that was a pretty good idea. Hopefully that stays working. Let me get the filter rust away off. All right, for me, rotting the filter was easy. I just put it down and slid it back. I'll bring it out on this side of these fuel lines, and then I'll put it down here to drain. Look down in there. Classic example. See what happened here? The gasket stayed on there. Had we not checked that, yep, see it's not on the filter. Had we not checked that and tried to put the other filter on, if it would have screwed on, it probably would have blew out because of pressure. So something to always check for. All right, after I wipe the surface off, I put a little bit of splash of oil on here, and I'll feed this back in through here like so. And then I'm gonna have to use my other hand to get that lined up. So you're gonna have to take my word for it that it'll screw on. All right, there's the little guy on there. Usually putting oil filters on, you do them till they stop, just till they touch the engine, and then you give them one more turn by hand. You don't put wrenches or anything on them. They'll kind of tighten up on their own. So that takes care of that. I'll put the oil dipstick back in. And mount this back up again, and then fill it with the appropriate amount of oil. I think it's 3.6 quarts. So my oil of choice today is just Mobil 15W40. No particular purpose or reason. It just meets the specifications called out by the Yanmar company. And now on the tractor, for the tractor fluid itself, I'm running Yanmar tractor fluid. There was just too many deviations of that. And yes, it was outrageously expensive, but I shouldn't have to do this again for another couple $100. As far as this goes, with pouring this in there, I will show you. that's a kind of a crazy angle, the oil fill. So I tried with a funnel, and that just doesn't seem to want to get it. So maybe a strangely shaped funnel might be helpful, but I'm finding it easier actually to pour it here. I'm getting a few drips on the ground, but probably less than I would with the funnel. All right, next thing on the hit parade is going to be the water filter separator. 11, 9, 10, 9, 8, 10, 55, 650, and I have a 12095 55, 670, but I did look that part number up and it says it's a replacement for that. So let's take a look at that. All right, here's the little guy right here. And I would assume it's kind of like the old dirt bike filters. You spin that off and get the filter out. But I don't want to drain that into the oil, so let me get something else to drain that in. All right, so the first thing I'll do is turn that off, and then I spun this loose with a pair of pliers. Thought it was loose enough to get by hand, but maybe not yet. Oh, there we go. That's plastic. So my idea was I wanted to catch the fuel and just make sure that there's not an excessive amount of water or anything in it. So that's why I wanted something clear. So again, I can't do all this with one hand. All right, not that much fuel comes out. You can see my little container down there on the bottom is probably about a quarter filled. There's still some in here. And as you can see, there's a spring on the bottom of this that holds that filter in place. You definitely don't want to, if you dump that out, you don't want to lose the spring. Let me see if I can hold this some ways. I'm just going to dump that into the can. And put my finger there to stop the spring. Okay, there's the spring in there. Now I can put that down out of the way here and pull the filter off. All right, filter only goes on one way. We'll go fill up here. There's nothing crazy sticking off of it. Nope. Let me get the other filter. All right, here's the new filter. I know it's gonna get dirty, but I just figured, oh, we'll just put it up in there for now. That just pushes right up on there. And this compartment with the spring in it still goes up here like so. And in theory, I'll just thread that back on. There is a O-ring at the top. You want to make sure that that stays there. That shouldn't need replaced. Famous last words. All right, let me tighten this down and open that fuel valve back up again. Okie dokie, tight and open. Fuel, that's tight and the fuel line's open. All right, next up is the transmission filter and oil. There's the filter part numbers, 48310 right there, and 24900 right there. This one takes a lot of oil, so I gotta go get a bigger container to catch it. All right, back under this side of the tractor. I think it, hopefully it's 17 millimeter, because that's what I grabbed. Same as the oil drain. So let me see. Oh. Yeah, well, wait. Maybe it is. Come on. Come on. It just got a little bit of paint on it. Yep, it's 17. It's 17, and you can see it right there. Next, there's a filter here, and there's another filter. Where is it? Right up. I'll show you where the other one is on the other side. All right, I'm probably gonna have to put the camera down to loosen this, to untighten it, as they say. Yep. With as knobby as these tires are, you would think that it would find a place to stay. There we go. that's dirt hitting me in the face. Alrighty. Wish me luck. I think oh, just got through my ear. I think 4 gallons should fit in this container. Hopefully. Boy, that still looks so good. I hate to have to throw that away, but you know. Oh well. We can watch that run forever, or I'll turn this off and come back. Actually, while that's happening, I'm going to lubricate the chassis. I'm going to grease the upper and lower tie rods and the pedals. I think that's the 4 points they recommend on the tractor. Do the bucket when I bring it back up, and I do the lawnmower or the mower deck all the time. I'll also remove the cap here. Keep it from building up a vacuum. It'll drain faster. Come on. Must be holding the rear axle in. There we go. All right, so here's the chassis loop. I think I said upper and lower tie rod end. It's going to be the right and left tie rod end, and the forward and reverse pedals. So I believe there's only 4 points on the tractor itself, and there's like 10 or something on the front loader. All right, so the tie rod ends, they're right here. I give them a pump or two on each side. And then back here to the pedals. Oh, you lookers. Just have to find them again. There they are, right underneath. You see one here. I'll try to point to them. There's one, and there's the other. So we're underneath the tractor looking up. Wow, that was close. Probably another gallon, and it would have been overflowing. Of course, I got to get it out of there now. Also, let's look at the filter here. We're not replacing it unless it's destroyed. That one up, that one. Okay. Well, it's not destroyed, but I'll tell you what, surprised how dirty it is. But it's not up at this interval. I'm sure that's going to be a cheap thing. All right. This guy back in here. All right, there it is. So you just make sure that you have it in, because it'll spin, and you'll see where these line up to get locked. There's one, and here's the other. And that's it. The other thing you have is a filter right here for in front of your radiator. After we're done, I'll take that and blow that all out, because you can see there's a lot of dirt down in there. That usually doesn't get too bad. I don't want to blow it around in the when I have oil and things open. All right, so first thing we'll do is take the transmission filter. We'll put a little bit of tractor fluid into it and swap that out. I'm still letting it drain. There's little drips coming out, so I'll let the pan drain under there. All right, so there's the tranny filter up there. And the orientation, that's the back wheels. There it is right there. Regular filter wrench should work to get that off just fine. And the pan's kind of in the right place to catch it. So let me give that a shot. All right, so it's turning pretty easy with the filter wrench. Get that by hand now. No, there's not a bear under here. It's just my hairy arm. There it is. Please don't splash or fall out of my hand and into the oil. Long filter, geez. Clump, 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 clump. All right. I'll get the other filter and throw that on. Checking to make sure that the gasket came off. I can see up in there the gasket's not in there. But something to check. All right, well, as long as we have a drip fest going on, I might as well pull the line filter off because the bucket's big enough to catch that too. Hopefully. All right. Wow, I guess that must drain back in. All right. Can't see for sure if the gasket's there. The O-ring, it looks like it's on the filter, good. Jeez, that's a lot of oil. All right. I'll be back when all the draining has subsided. All right, and as we're still waiting for the transmission fluid or the tractor fluid to drain, we can check the front axle. It was on our checklist here, and I did have to loosen it a little bit because I was not manly enough to turn it. Let's see. And that looks pretty good. That's up to the top of the X's, so we don't have to do anything with that. No servicing for this. This is just a check, same as the air cleaner. Okay. So let's see. The last thing I think I have to put on is the line filter here. And that's the big monster that's really expensive. So we'll stick that on, and then everything will be done, and we have to fill up the thing with Yanmar red gold. All right, there's the filler right there, and I'll be using a long funnel to fill it because it takes about 4 gallons, 4.1 or something, and that's a lot of bending over, so I'll be just kind of dumping it in here. And so there's a little window down there right next to the shaft there, and that'll start to turn red because the fluid's red, but you can watch your progress there. Gallon in and nothing showing yet, of course. All right, 3 gallons in, still no sign of anything red. All right, exactly 4 gallons in, and I'm right about the fill mark, or the level mark, but you know, it has to fill the filters as well, so I'm sure once I start it running through some changes, it's using the hydraulics and the transmission, it's going to drop some. So I'll finish and put about the 0.1 in. I'm just going to double check that's what the manual calls for, and then we'll start it up. All right, the drain cap's all on, the line just below the full line, and I don't know how you estimate 0.1 of a gallon, but I estimated, so I believe this can go back up. I'll wait till we run it through its paces to put that back up. So now it's time to start it, and then I blew out the radiator and everything. That's all cleaned up. Just want to blow it off some more once I pull it back outside. Everything else is put back together in here. So we have 3 things we have to think about: hydraulic oil, the engine oil, and the fuel. All right, so here goes nothing. we had the fuel bowl low, so it might have to do that a couple of times. The other side here. All right. All right, now I'm going to apply a little bit of transmission backward and forward. Moving. I'm going to run the hydraulic up and down with the belly mower and the 3-point. Do that one more time. Okay. Now we'll shut it off, let the oils settle a little bit, and see if everything's good. All right, the oil's going to need about half a quart, somewhere in that area, after it filled up the filter and everything. Come back here. This little guy is almost completely empty. I can see just a little bit at the very bottom. Interesting. All right, so it took almost a half a gallon to bring that back where it should be. Now I got to get down to put the loader on, and bring that up, and we'll grease it and make sure the fluids are all, that fluid anyhow is all full again, and that'll be a wrap. So let me go get the loader. All right, so the loader's back on, and my grease fittings, I'll get all those. Kind of look at any of the pivot points on each side, and you'll find your grease fittings, and I'll take care of those and show you the finished product there. It's a little bit of a hill, but that's about halfway, so that looks good. Maybe for you it looks full because of how high you are, but okay. So that's a wrap, and my finger out of the way. That's a wrap, and I hope that it helped you out a little bit, or at least gave you something to do this morning. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time. I did do a video on upgrading the firmware in my TS590 Kenwood, and it was a great video, probably the best video ever. But for some reason, it didn't write it to the disk, so I have nothing. Anyhow. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.